We're into the realms of bureaucratic absurdity, and Ofsted's proposed new school rating system, which rather than simplifying educational assessment, has actually made it more complex. And it appears to have taken a direct inspiration from a Nando's menu. Yet schools across England may soon be assessed not in clear, meaningful terms, but in a colour-coded system that seems better suited to ordering spicy chicken. Welcome to the Ofsted clapometer of doom. Once upon a time, Huey Green could be presenting it. It's opportunity knocks. Once upon a time, Ofsted inspections were brutal but straightforward. You are either outstanding, good, requires improvement, or, if truly unfortunate, inadequate, harsh, yes, unfair, yes. But it was comprehensible, I suppose. And then came the Labour government, eager to axe these reductive labels, only for Ofsted to return with a system so convoluted that it makes A-level physics look like finger painting. I could break it down. Schools are now going to be judged on 10 separate categories, from leadership and curriculum to the more nebulous opportunities to thrive and belonging, presumably not in the Hogwarts sense. Each will be ranked on a 5-tier scale, from exemplary, extra hot, to causing concern, plain, dull. And then there's talk of colour coding, because what better way to inform parents than by slapping a school with a shade of red that screams, "Don't send your child here unless you fancy them learning in a burning building," or orange, or yellow, or green, or orange. What colour? It beggars belief that I'm sure there've been serious conversations about which colours to have, which colours not to have. You can't have brown, because that might suggest some sort of fecal remnant in the corridors of the school. Educators are, unsurprisingly, unimpressed. One has already called it colour shaming. Another has pointed out this new system creates more ways for schools to fail than before, rather than fixing the problems that Ofsted has made toxic in the first place. And let's be clear, Ofsted is in desperate need of reform. It's still reeling from the tragedy that it caused of Ruth Perry, the head teacher who took her own life following a downgrade to inadequate. The review into her death found Ofsted's response defensive and complacent, and yet, instead of meaningful structural reform, we get a spectrum of shame in rainbow colours. This brings us to the biggest problem, the sheer impracticality of it all. Schools already complain that inspectors are expected to make sweeping judgments in just 2 days, and now they'll need to evaluate 10 different categories with mathematical precision, presumably with the aid of a tarot card and random new number generators. Huey Green is definitely on the cards here, isn't he? Critics have rightly asked, where is the evidence base for this system? If the previous framework wasn't working, why on earth making it 10 times more complicated is the solution? And what about the parents? Theoretically, Ofsted exists to help them make informed choices, but who genuinely believes that slapping a school with a mystifying mosaic of colours and buzzwords will be an improvement in any meaningful way? If anything, it opens the door to an arms race of spin. Schools boasting about being secure in some categories while hoping nobody notices attention needing on safeguarding. And at this point, even Ofsted appears to be unsure. There are conflicting reports over whether colour coding is actually going ahead, and officials insisting that it's just in some sort of consultation period. Yet, given the backlash from teachers and school leaders, one has to wonder, if this is the debate stage, why does it feel like the plan has already been cooked and seasoned? The Nando's is ready. The most baffling part, Ofsted is redesigning itself. If an organisation has lost public trust, surely it shouldn't be left to reinvent its own rules. As one head teacher has put it, Ofsted needs fundamental reform, not the bureaucratic equivalent of a fresh coat of paint. So what should be done instead? If we really want to fix school inspections, we should consider a binary system. Either a school is functioning at the expected level, or it isn't and requires targeted support, and bring in the targeted support. And actually, I'm not sure that that's something that parents or children need to know about. It's simple, it's transparent. No clapometer required. All schools should be at a level of competence and a level of excellence that any child should excel in them. And if they're not, then help should be provided immediately and discreetly. And if a school is failing, it shouldn't be allowed to continue. If a school is inadequate, it shouldn't be functioning. Should it? Why would you send your child to an inadequate school? Why would you send your patient? Why would you go to an inadequate hospital? If something is inadequate, it shouldn't be there. And if it's there and still continuing, then there's something wrong with the system. Ofsted should not be there to brand your school good, better, best. It should be there to make sure all schools are excellent. And if that's not the case, then Ofsted is failing. So, we're left with an educational system where your child's future might depend on whether their school ends up as a spicy green or a mild red. And that is madness.